This is Nearly Lost, a Grace Ford FBI suspense thriller, Book 6, written by Molly Black, read by Caroline. Prologue. Deep in troubled thought, Barry Croydon trudged along the pathway that ran between the grassy field on one side and the lazy winding river on the other. In early summer, this riverside Wisconsin town was bathed in sunshine and greenery, but he barely noticed the view. Frowning as his heavy boots tramped across a squelchy spot, he was worrying about the bitter argument he'd had with his wife, Sandy, last night. Things weren't going well between them. They were strained. It was like everything he said to her got taken the wrong way. Okay, some of the things had been wrong. He shouldn't have said them at all. They'd had too many fights in the past while. How had he become so vindictive? What were all these personal insults about? What he'd said to her last night, that had been taunting and bitter and hurtful. It had been like listening to a dark caricature of himself, but one that he'd somehow become. Barry, you need to take yourself back a few years, he told himself. You had a good partnership back then. That's what it was. A partnership. Thinking back to those better times, he raised his head and scanned the surrounding area. The woods were quiet and peaceful on this early morning. He knew that it would still be chilly under their canopy, but that was a mile or more away. And for the time being, his route took him alongside the river. His gaze snagged on a large oval object, a rock in the river, he guessed, washed by water and glistening in the morning sun, interrupting the blue flow of the river. It was a strange optical illusion, but it looked as if the rock was slowly moving. That was weird. Looking away from the puzzling slight, Barry remembered how he and Sandy had enjoyed walks by the river years ago, and then life had gotten in the way. She'd become focused on the twin boys who were now 10, and who, though little superstars in their own right, seemed to take all her time and a massive amount of his and Sandy's energy. And of course, his work had been so busy that the previously regular walks down here had become only occasional. Back then, when he'd walked regularly, he'd been a good few years younger and a good few pounds lighter. It wasn't just the big, expensive hiking boots that were weighing his feet down. It was the additional weight he was carrying. Time had flowed on, just like the river, and he wasn't happy with the results it had left him with. He might have progressed in his career, but he was heavier in body and in mind. How to turn it around, he wondered. Could it be changed? Or was it too late for him to do anything except continue what seemed to be an inevitable...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?